Welcome to Phishious, the world's first secure email gateway evaluation toolkit. This toolkit is designed for use by red teamers, and its evaluation capabilities are provided by abusing misconfigurations in public infrastructure that commonly come in the form of bounce attacks. And these misconfigurations are widespread and endemic to the way secure email gateway technologies are currently implemented, with up to 10% of mail receivers currently being vulnerable. And what I'm going to show you as part of this recording is how Phishious automates the abuse and allows you to evaluate your phishing material against an array of secure email gateway technologies with just a few clicks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to this automated scan navbar link and we're going to click it. And once we click it, we're directed to this page. And the first thing we need to do when we're on this page is to provide Phishious with the settings that we want to use for performing this scan. And the first thing we need to do here is input our list of target domains. Now I've whited out the text here to indicate what target domains I'm targeting because I don't necessarily want you to see the vulnerable mail receivers I'm abusing. But I've got about 15 domains here, and it's just a list of comma, space, or line delimited domain names. Next thing we've got here is the target address. So this is the local part address, and we want this to be a local part address that we know doesn't exist. So an example here could be I don't exist 254 with the target domain being canifish.com. So I don't exist 254 at canifish.com. The next thing we need to input is our SMTP server settings. So these are the settings that we want to use for actually delivering our phishing, spam, or some other form of malicious material. The next thing is our storage settings. So because I'm using Gmail in this instance, I'm going to go ahead with using Gmail for my storage, but I might want to use Amazon S3 if I'm using a third-party SMTP server or Amazon SES. So these storage settings are where our bounce responses are actually going to land, right? So because I'm using Gmail, my bounce responses are going to land in Gmail. If I'm using SES, they'll land in S3. If I'm using a third-party mail server, maybe they'll land back on that server, but you could also configure it that so they go to Amazon S3. And the next thing we also need to do is set up our email priming settings. So what we need to do as part of a Phishious scan is essentially initiate this two-phase process. The first phase is email priming. And this is where we need to deliver non-malicious material because we want to see how that particular secure email gateway technology behaves when it receives that non-malicious material. So we have a strong indicator to say, when malicious material is delivered, it is reacting in a very different way. So in this case, I've just put completely non-malicious material, completely non-malicious email subject, display name, all of that. And one of the things to note here is that email priming can also be used as an indicator to see, hey, if I'm not getting a response back and I know that receiver is vulnerable, and I'm also delivering non-malicious content, that could be an indicator that maybe your domain name, maybe your local part address, or maybe the mail server IP that you're using has been blocklisted in some way, shape, or form, right? So email priming provides the way to actually establish that. In this case, I know everything's all good, non-malicious, so I'm going to go ahead with email priming. And what's happening here is Phishious is undertaking a few things, and it's automating it all for us behind the scenes. The first thing it's doing is sending emails on our behalf. So it's sending emails to each of those 15 target addresses that we've got. Once those emails have been sent, it's then going to start listening and waiting to receive the bounce responses back over the following 30 seconds or so. So what I'll do is I'll open up Gmail here, and we can see that I'm actually starting to receive bounce responses back. That's because the email sending has occurred and the bounce responses are starting to come back to us. But what I'll do, I'll pause the recording for a second. We'll wait for all those bounce responses. Now, all the emails have just been delivered. Some bounce responses are still coming in, but what we can also see is that a countdown has occurred. And at this stage, Phishious is now beginning to ingest these emails, and it will begin deleting them from the mailbox, right? So as we can see here, the countdown's going down. It looks like Phishious has actually just primed most of our mail filters for us. Yep, there we go. So we've got about 5 seconds left. We'll wait for Phishious to finish scanning, and now we can detonate, right? So priming is finished. Now it's time for detonation. Now, with email detonation, this is where we want to deliver our malicious content, right? In this case, you can see I've changed the email subject to contain a bunch of keywords that I know secure email gateway technologies are not going to like. Similarly, for the email body, there's a whole bunch of keywords here that I know secure email gateway technologies are just going to flag, right? These are all, um, keywords that are commonly used in malicious emails. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Detonate Filters, and I'm going to pause the recording again just for a moment. Now, email sending has just about all but wrapped up. It's taken about 30 seconds or so, and we can see that we're starting to get bounce responses back from our email detonation phase, right? So we'll probably get maybe a dozen or so responses back. The malicious material I included is, it is malicious, but it's not that malicious. So not every secure email gateway technology is going to pick it up and flag it as malicious. So they're still coming through. And we can see that email detonation is going to wrap up in about 10 seconds. And once this wraps up, Phishious is going to do a one-time scan of our mailbox. It's going to pull in all of these emails. We'll be able to see it in a moment. And we'll see what emails have been flagged, what emails have remained undetected, and we'll be able to view it in quite a lot of detail. So there you go. It's just wrapping up. We probably need another 5 seconds. There we go. And here we can see what secure email gateway technologies have flagged our emails as malicious. In this case, only 3 have. And if we take a look at some of them, Mimecast Secure Email Gateway, we can see that Mimecast has allocated a spam score of 12 to our email. And we can do that. We can see this because Phishious will actually extract the relevant headers to see how a particular secure email gateway technology has identified our email. So we can see that there's a header snippet here showing a spam score of 12. We can also see that anything above a 7 is considered a high confidence phishing email or spam email from the context of Mimecast. If we switch over to another one, let's go take a look at Exchange Online Protection. We can see that an SCL score of 1 has been identified, and an SCL score of 0 or 1 indicates that a message is not spam. So Exchange Online Protection didn't flag our email. If we take a look at another one, Proofpoint. In this case, we can see a score of 0 was allocated. And from Proofpoint's context, anything below a 50 is typically considered low confidence spam. So with a spam score of 0, we definitely were not detected for any form of spam or malicious material. If we go over to Barracuda Email Security, we can see that we got a spam score of 1.94, and anything below a 3.5 is considered not spam. So Phishious isn't just sending these emails for us, it's also analyzing the responses back that we get to see how a particular email has been flagged, right? Are we getting close to that particular spam threshold? Is it gone over a spam threshold? Right? This is all at your fingertips. So I highly recommend taking a look at Phishious. If you like it, please start the GitHub project. Otherwise, if you have any problems or issues, please just raise an issue within GitHub. Thanks.